you ever failed? Like, I mean, just completely failed. You were doing good for a while. You've got all your ducks in a row. Is it geese in a line? I don't know what the saying is. And then you just fall off and you're back to square one because that one event kind of just screwed you over. So how do you deal with that stuff? How do you deal with when stuff just goes horribly wrong with your fitness and your nutrition? I'm diving into that. So strap in, get ready for episode 260. Let's go.
The future of fitness.
How do you gain muscle mass?
Fitness is not complicated. It's simple when you break it down.
There's so much information out there.
No fads, no diets, just plain simple habits.
You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody. So glad to have you here for my return listeners. Thank you for coming back. It means the world to me that you continue to tune into me. Thank you so much. And if you're new to the podcast, I try to break down fitness into simple 10 to 12 minute bite-sized pieces because I think fitness is way over complicated. We try to just make it way harder than it is. Now, don't get me wrong. It is difficult to get healthy. It is difficult to get fit, but it is not complicated. So I try to bring the simplicity to it. But if you have not subscribed or hearted or liked this channel, this podcast, please do so right now. Just take a quick moment, click that subscribe, leave a review, rate it, like all the things. I would be so appreciative of that. With that being said, let's dive in. So I'm sitting here drinking coffee out of a Lord of the Rings mug because I'm kind of a nerd like that. And there's a saying on it. It's got Gandalf on one side, Holla Gandalf, and on the other it says, "Courage will now be your best defense against the storm that is at hand." I guess I should say that in like a Gandalf voice, right? Courage will now be your best defense against the storm that is at hand. Is that better? I feel like I need a hat, though, the big pointy hat to really get it across. But anyway, my point is, I love Tolkien. I love Lord of the Rings. I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan even as a kid, long before the movies. Love the movies, love everything, but that's not what this podcast is about. But this quote, this saying, it kind of, I just literally looked at it before I hit record. I'm like, that applies because it takes courage to change. It does. Anytime we set out to make a difference in our lives, a difference in the people around us, like that takes courage to step out and make a change. Am I right? It's not easy. It's not fun doing something different. We're creatures of habit. Most of us love routine. I really love routine. Like maybe you don't, I don't know. But we like knowing what to expect. We like what's coming around the next corner, right? We don't like the unknown. And so it's hard when we step into something we don't know with fitness or with nutrition because there's so many unknowns with it. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to hit our goal, what, roadblocks are going to come, what things we're going to face, all these things. And it can be really challenging. And so we've got to have that courage to step forward and to say, you know what? I may not know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to make these first steps towards it. And that's all any of us can do. None of us are perfect. None of us have everything figured out. There's more for every single one of us to learn. I don't care what level of fitness you're at. There's always more to learn. I definitely have more to learn, and everybody does. If you ever meet somebody who's like, no, I know everything there is to know about fitness and nutrition, you probably need to run like the other direction because, anyway. But it takes courage, and you've got to step out. It brings to mind, while we're on Lord of the Rings, why not, right? There's another great quote from Bilbo Baggins. "It's a dangerous business going out your front door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to." And I feel like that is fitness to a T. Like we start a journey and we have somebody tell us, hey, you should try this diet. And we try this diet. And then somebody's like, hey, you should try this. And we try that. And before we know it, we're doing all kinds of crazy crap. And we're like, what am I even doing? Is this even working? Like we get so in the groove of doing something that we think that's the answer, when in reality it's not. We've completely lost track of what we're doing. We completely have lost sight. And that comes into play a lot when we have days where we just really mess up with our diet and our fitness and all that. And I know you've had those days. I've had those days. I've had those weeks before where you're on track and you're doing good for a while, and then it could be something external, like something just broadsides you in life. It just hits you out of nowhere, and your world is rocked, and you don't have time to go to the gym, and whatever it may be, life happens. There's unpredictables around every corner. And often what happens in those times is we And for good reason, we place fitness and nutrition on the back burner and take care of what needs to be taken care of. But then something happens. We undo, just in those few short days, we undo all that work we've done, not in the sense of you're going to go back to square one. I don't mean that, but mentally you undo that habit. Mentally you undo that streak. And so in your mind, we often get stuck with, well, I just screwed up, so I might as well just screw up the rest of this week and start over next week, or start over next month, or next year, or after this holiday, or after this trip, or whatever it is, right? It's always the next corner, then we'll get things on track. And we all know where that goes. Like, we all know that story. It really doesn't happen. We put it off and we put it off and we put it off. And guess what? We never get anywhere. And we can't get in that mindset. Let me ask you this. If you're driving somewhere, let's say you're on your way to work and there's a wreck on the road and traffic's being diverted off the highway and you got to take a different route. Do you just like throw up your hands and like, you know what? I'm not going to go to work today because there was an accident. I'm going to just turn around and go home. Of course not. We probably call, if, depending on our work, we probably call and we're like, hey, there's a wreck. I'm going to be a few minutes late. And we get in late and then we explain what happened and go about our day, right? Like, that's what we do. Well, fitness shouldn't be any different. If we have a complete wreck of a day or a wreck of a week, oh well. Like, we don't just throw our hands up and turn around and say, I'm done, I quit. No. Maybe you had only 3 weeks before then. Maybe you had just started, you were 3 weeks in and then something happened. Maybe you're 6 months in and then something happened. Those 3 weeks are still progress that you made. Those 6 months is still progress that you made. Like, it doesn't, just because you mess up or you screw up or whatever, and I hate to even say mess up, screw up, like things just don't go according to plan. That doesn't mean that all the other stuff you did doesn't matter. Nothing else in life do we treat that way. At least we shouldn't. I just gave the example with work. Like, we hit obstacles, sure. And then we just have to pivot, adjust, and keep going. And it's no different with fitness. In fact, if anything, we have to do it more with fitness because, there's get-togethers, there's parties, we have families, and, we're always going to events, and there's always junk food, and there's so many things that can derail us. And I don't want you to feel like you can never enjoy life and go and do those things. Those are just a part of it. And that's part of the fitness journey, is learning to balance everything. I say all the time, I hate fad diets. I hate elimination diets that say you can't eat any carbs or you can't eat any veggies or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? There's a diet for everything. Because it's like an all or nothing mentality, and it's all about balance. One thing I find striking is when you listen to any interview with like people that have made it to like 100 or beyond. And, there's always that question, like, what's the secret to maintaining your health, blah, blah, blah. And they always respond with the same exact thing: balance. 100% balance. They enjoy what they want, but they do it in moderation. They don't go crazy with it, and they have a healthy balance. And I think that's the key to fitness. There's levels that you can go in fitness. And obviously, if you're trying to get on a stage and compete, your journey is going to look a little different than the average person, because there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to get up to get to that level. But if you're just wanting to get healthy and stay fit and feel active and feel good, it's about balance. It's about finding the balance that works for you. Maybe it just isn't feasible for you to get in the gym 5 days a week. Maybe because of your schedule, because of your family, because of your schooling, whatever it is, 4 days is just a huge struggle. Okay, so what? Work out the 4 days and don't sweat it. Do what you can. Focus on your nutrition. Focus on the things that are in your control. Don't get so focused on what happened yesterday or what happened to derail you or the thing you can't control. Focus on what you can control today that's right in front of you, because you have so many things that are right in front of you that you can control today. Your attitude, for one. How you approach the day. Do you wake up being thankful? I'll be honest, I don't wake up thankful every day. There's a lot of days I don't wake up thankful. But the older I get, the more and more I realize how good I have it. And I don't mean to say that in any kind of arrogant way or anything like that. Like, oh, I have it so good. Like, no, life still sucks a lot of days. Like, I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat it. And like, my life is perfect by any means. Hell no. What I'm trying to say, though, is my mindset, I've shifted so much that I have so much to be thankful for. And yeah, things may go wrong and things may be crappy this day, but deep down, I still have things that I can be thankful for. And when we dig deep, when we begin to change that mindset it overflows in all areas. And let it overflow into fitness. Like, be thankful that you're able to go work out, that you're able to eat healthy, even if it's 50% of the time. You know what I mean? Like, count your wins. So I hope this helps. I hope it's encouraging. Keep freaking going. Like, don't quit. You know what I'm saying? To wrap it up with Lord of the Rings, Frodo kept going till he got to Mount Doom. And then, guess what? He got there and he still couldn't do it, and he needed his friend to help him. But the point of the story is, like, keep going. Keep making those steps. Keep heading towards that destination. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to mess up. You're going to have issues along the way. That's fine. That's part of the journey. It's part of it. So remember, you can get by any obstacle. You can pivot. You can get over any obstacle that comes in your path. You've got this.